Hello, campers.
Hello.
Hello.
So did you have a great morning?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so for this project, I'm going to say that if you have your adult nearby, we're going to need your adult to help with a couple of things. Adults, one thing I learned in the last session is that if any of you have a ruler handy or a tape or anything else, because I tried to remember to be muted if your speaker's talking, please. Thank you. Trying to show the girls how to measure out a length of the string when we get towards the end. My explanation of it was not getting across. So that being said, if you have like a little ruler or something available to measure, that may help us out later on. Okay. So nobody, are you going to do the slides or do you want me to do the slides?
I will do the slides.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on.
Rose Moonfire, we're
We're-
just getting started. So if you can get your kite supplies out, that would be perfect.
I don't know what
And-
the kite supplies is.
We are going to look at the slides, and the first couple of slides show the materials that you need. So if you could be
Okay.
patient for a minute. Once the slide gets up on the screen, you'll see what is needed. So let's hold questions for a minute until you can actually see what you need. And that may help you when you see it. It always helps me when I can see things. I'm a visual person. It means I learn better with my eyes than I do with my ears. So let's wait for questions for a minute. So let's have our hands down for a minute until you see the first slide, and then we can answer your questions. Sound good?
We have our box.
That's so exciting, sweetheart. I'm glad it came.
You'll need to go back to slide 2. And I put some artwork on the first slide for you all because why not, right? That's a little boy flying a kite. Okay, so campers, if you look at this picture, on the top you have your paper roll, and then in your small parts bag, which is this bag, remember, it's the little wax paper bag, you'll find the green kite string, which looks like, I took mine out, which looks like this. You have 2 pencils with duct tape on them. You want the one that has a thicker roll of duct tape. You'll need a pair of scissors from your house and your Sharpies. All right. And then next slide, and then that shows the last few things, I think. Also, from yesterday when we made our Jacob's Ladders, you had a nail pouch that was also in your small parts bag. You're going to need 1 nail from that. And then on your duct tape pencil, you'll need to sharpen the end of your pencil. Okay, so if everybody's got, if all the humans, all the earth dwellers have those items, I want you to give your leaders a thumbs up, and then if you have a question, we can field some questions. So I see Marcy has a question. I see Marcy, and are there 2 camp names there? Because I can only see one.
Yes, it's Marcy and Marshmallow.
Oh, okay, awesome. I like those.
I'm Marcy. And we didn't get everything, we just knew the Sharpies. What is this?
So
That's your small parts bag. So remember I showed you the kite string?
Yeah.
So you'll need from inside of that bag?
There's a bunch of small parts in here.
So Marcy,
There's
Cassandra,
this.
that's the first aid kit. Marcy, we're not going to go through everything in our box together right now. So I'll have Cassandra help you find what you need so that you can get your parts out of your box. It looks like Brave Bear has a question.
Okay.
Go ahead, Brave Bear.
I was curious, so it might not work this way. It might not work the way that we keep all the string that's on that little green thingy. But if it does, I have the craziest way for making sure, because I want to have this very certain amount of string that I'm using to fly my kite with today. And that might get messed up. I don't care. But can I show you it? It went all over the house. It's very short.
Well,
It's
what
from, like here to there.
So Brave Bear, right now we're going to focus on making the kite because this takes a little bit of time. At the end, if we have some time, I would love if you showed us your string trick because it's always good to know how to keep all your supplies in good shape. All right, awesome. All right, so leaders, do you want to see if all your scouts have everything they need? We're going to get a thumbs up on that. And I apologize, I'm fumbling over here and my kite got all tangled.
All right, are all of the grown-ups, are all of you in great shape to get started with the supplies? Thumbs up. Great. Okay.
Awesome. All right, when you, when you think everybody's ready, we can go to the next slide.
You can go to the next slide.
Okay, so on your roll of paper, so we're just going to worry about the roll of paper right now. There are 3 little pieces of tape holding the paper roll closed. I'd like you to pull those little pieces of tape off, and those can actually get thrown away. So just put them off to the side for now and unroll your kite. And when you are done, give your leaders a thumbs up or show us that you're relaxing and waiting for the next step. And I'm going to tell you about that paper while we're waiting for everybody to give a thumbs up. That paper is very hard to tear with your fingers. It's very easy to cut with the scissors. It's the same stuff they make the FedEx envelopes out, you know, all the sturdy envelopes you get from the post office. So when we're cutting, we'll need to be careful that we cut right on the line when we get to that point. But we're using it because it doesn't weigh a lot. And it's very tough paper.
I think I saw most people having a thumbs up.
A thumbs up? Okay, then we can go to the next slide. All right, so at this point, there's your dowels. Dowels, oops, I'm getting weird feedback. The dowels are the wood pieces, and you're going to take the 2 little pieces of tape off of them. Those 2 small pieces of tape are also going to get thrown away. And you're going to take your pieces of wood and your 3 colorful ribbons, and you're going to put them aside. We're going to use those later. And make sure that your ribbons aren't anywhere near your paper when you start cutting, because we don't want your ribbon to accidentally get cut. So when your dowels and your ribbons are put off to the side, give your leaders a thumbs up, please.
All right, I think we're good.
And awesome. Next slide, please.
Oh, Marshy has a question.
Yes,
Marshy,
Marshy.
Marshy, is it a question about our kite right now?
Are we supposed to cut the kite paper on the
We'll
line?
get to that. We're going to work on that right now. Good question. So the next thing I want you to do is make sure that you're on a surface that you can use a scissors with. I had a camper on their couch trying to cut the kite. If you're on top of something that's like a couch or you know, anything that's fabric, you'll want to move to the floor or on top of a table. Because if you're on something really squishy, you might end up cutting the couch of whoever's house you're at right now, and that would be sad. So we want to make sure we take good care of the house that you live in. So you're going to take your scissors and very carefully cut on the line. And and I want everybody to look at the computer for a second. I want all eyes on the computer. Do you see the place that says the finished kite shape? It's the slide that's on the right. It's got the letters on top of the kite. If you see that, give me a thumbs up. That's what your kite should look like after you cut out all the pieces. So be careful with your scissors and start cutting your kite out. If you save the big chunk of white paper that will be left over, you might be able to make yourself a teeny tiny kite later. But that will be another day, not today. And when your kite is all done being cut out, and I'm not rushing you, but when it's done being cut out, just make sure you give us a thumbs up. And if you have a string or anything else that's in the way, put it aside because we're not using the string right now. So make sure you're focusing on actually cutting your kite out. Thank you. Looks like everybody's working hard. Great job, campers. Marshy and Marshmallow, are you two all done? No? Oh, okay, focus on cutting. I thought you were all done because you were looking at the computer. What's your question? And is it a question about what we're doing right now?
It's a question. It's not a question, but someone else is cutting it for us.
Ah.
All right, I see one set of thumbs up, two sets of thumbs up, three sets of thumbs up. Firefly, was that a thumbs up? Yes. I don't remember what I said. What number are we on? I think that's 4. Thumbs up number 4. Thumbs up number 5. Thumbs up number 6 at Pickle's house. Thumbs up number 7 with Unicorn Queen. And I did see thumbs up with Lauren. Those are some great thumbs up, Lauren. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's just 5 people I haven't heard from yet. So I think there's just I think, oh, I see yours, Shark. Thank you. Thank you, Shark. Oh, Unicorn Queen, that's a great shape you've got going there. Thank you.
And if everybody looks,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Thank you to all of the grown-ups who are helping with all of this cutting. Extra high five for the grown-ups. Oh, I see Imagine and Dragon have a thumbs up. Go ahead, Shamrock.
I was going to say if all the earth dwellers, because I noticed that there were some deer in the other group, so goats and humans got too confusing for me, so I'm calling you earth dwellers. If you look at the picture where it says thinnest kite shape, you see how there's the points, the way it is that's the top of the kite, and the skinny end on the bottom, that is the actual bottom of the kite. So when we're looking at the kite to tape things in a little bit, remember how this looks like. It's a little curvy on the top, and it points on the sides, and it slims down on the bottom. And when they're ready, nobody, feel free to go to the next slide.
All right, I see a thumbs up from Rose Moon Fire, and I can tell that Honeybee is almost finished. So I think we can move on.
Sounds good. All right, so this is the time you get your duct tape. So remember, you have 2 pencils that have duct tape on them, and one of them is going to be thicker than the other. One's going to be skinny and one's going to be thicker on the roll. So the thicker one's the one we're using now. No, oh, look at Marshy and Marshmallow are holding up a pencil for us. We're going to use the thicker one now, and you're going to save the thinner one for when you're working on your solar ovens. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to pull off a piece of tape that, and I used up all my tape earlier, so I'm going to get a piece of paper towel and we're going to pretend it's tape. So your piece of tape is going to be about that big. For me, we'll say it's about 2 fingers wide for an adult. For a kid, it's probably closer to 3 fingers wide. And here's the deal. So before anybody starts cutting tape, you can take your scissors and you can make a little slice, or your adult can make a little slice on the tape like this.
So
if you see the slice.
how long does the piece of tape have to be? Does it have to be a square or what?
Well, we want to make sure we don't use it too much. So when you pull it off of your pencil roll, it's going to be about 2 fingers wide for the adults. And then that's where you're going to give it a little cut. Now, but I want everybody to listen to the safety part, because the other day I accidentally hurt myself when I was cutting tape. You're going to give it a little slice with your scissors, and then you'll get a little tab like this, and then you can rip the rest of it up on your tape. Adults, if you can just hold on for 1 second. And I would like, if you have a question, to please raise your hand, because with us not being in the same room, it makes it a little more difficult, but we can handle this because we're Girl Scouts and we're Scouts in general, and we can do anything. if the adults can rip the tape with your fingers, that is the safest thing to do. But if you need to use the scissors, just give it a little clip, because your scissors are going to get gummed up, and then if the blade sticks to it, that's where the danger comes in, where trying to get a piece of tape off a sharp scissors, I don't want anyone to cut themselves, because that's just unpleasant, and we don't want to have any unpleasantness if we can help it. All right, did somebody have a question?
Luckily, they got first aid kits in a previous session, so if they did cut themselves, they could bandage it. Rosa Moonfire's question has to do with how long does the piece of tape need to be, and so you said about 3 finger widths for a child or 2 finger widths for an adult. So you're just estimating it.
Yeah, so you just a piece of tape. Let me show you my kite. Nobody, would you be able to spotlight? If you would be able to spotlight for a minute.
You are.
Oh, I am. Okay. Do you have to unshare the screen, or do I look big on the screen?
You look small on my screen. But
there
you go.
There we go. Okay, so you see this piece of tape here? It's really hard to see because it's white. Maybe if I get a pencil and I draw around it. I don't know if that will make it easier to see. Maybe a little darker. So this piece of tape, I'm doing this backwards for the camera here. It's about 2 fingers. And so that's the width of the roll as you're pulling it off, and then you cut it here. So I think hopefully the adults understand what I'm trying to say, but it's 2 fingers wide. All the pieces that we're going to use on taping the dowels are going to be 2 fingers wide. Do any of the adults have a question with that? Pickle looks like she's being inquisitive. Did you have a question, Pickle? You're good? Okay. All right, maybe it's just sunny there. You have blue skies, I don't. But, and then when you get your pieces of tape, you get your first piece of tape. If we could go to the next slide, I can show you where we start to put them.
It looks like Uni has a question.
Where is Uni?
How many pieces of tape do you need?
I couldn't hear you, hon. Can you try again?
How many pieces of tape do you need?
We're going to cut one at a time, but each dowel, each wood piece is going to get 4. But we're only going to cut one at a time off, because if it gets stuck to something else, it won't work very well. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Would you be able to go back to the slides, please?
I sure can.
Awesome. There's my dowels, by the way. I'm going to show you real fast before we're back at the slides. So these are the 2 points that stick out on the side. So we can go to the next one.
Go to the next one.
Yes, please. Okay, so you have the top of your kite, like I showed you in the picture. Get the little rounded edge and your 2 points that stick out. So between the top of your kite and then there's that bottom corner, that's how your dowel is going to be. So looking at the middle picture on the screen, everybody find one of the 2 points at the very tippity top of their kite. And then if you can find the corner at the very bottom of the kite, your dowel is going to go from the point at the top down to one of the corners at the bottom. It needs to be on the same side. And then you can tape the top of that dowel to that top point on the kite. And when you're done with that step, give a thumbs up. All right, I see Marshy and Marshmallow got thumbs up. And Pickle and Miss Piggy, thumbs up.
I don't know what to do.
Oh, Lauren has thumbs up. Rosa Moonfire, is that you needing help?
Mm-hmm.
Can you show me that you can raise your hand in the screen so I can call on you?
What do you mean?
Can you show me can you show me that you can raise your hand? Like show me,
Like this.
yeah, and then I'll call on you and then we'll know that it's your turn to talk. Go ahead, Rosa Moonfire. What's your question?
So I don't know what to do with this stick that has a piece of tape on it. And
So you're gonna,
put it.
okay, so you see how I'm holding my kite like this? And these two corners at the top of your kite, you're gonna pick one of them, just one corner, and you're gonna tape it on the top corner.
Okay.
Awesome, it looks like you got it. And campers, if your tape sticks out on the top of the kite, you can fold it over the back side, like on the picture on the right. I don't know if you can circle around that one with your scroller. Thank you.
Like this?
I think so, Rosamund. Looks good to me. Are we ready to go to the next slide?
Yep, I'm seeing some thumbs ups and some yeses.
Are we
Awesome.
gonna do both sides?
We are. We're going to make them look the same. But we're just going to work on one dowel at a time. So we're going to work on the same stick, and we'll finish that one. So everybody look at the left slide. If if you could circle that with your scroller, mouse scroller. So we're now going to put a piece of tape. Do you see where nobody's going over that with her little arrow? We're going to put a piece of tape at the bottom of that dowel next. And is my volume good, or am I being
Your volume is great.
loud? Awesome.
I'm getting this piece of tape.
All right, and when you get that piece of tape done, give us a thumbs up. All right, I see Imagine or Dragon with thumbs up.
And Phoebe and Bean have their thumbs up. And Pickle
Nice.
and Piggy have their thumbs up. Oh, and Marshy and Marshmallow have their thumbs up. And Shark has her thumbs up.
All right, so when you're ready, if you could make a circle around picture number 2 where the next piece of tape is going to go. So we're going to that's tape number 3. And we're going to put one right about there. And then tape number 4 is the last picture. So just kind of put them in the middle. We just want to make sure your kite is sturdy. Because when it's up in the air, it's going to be bounced around a little bit by the wind, and we want to make sure it holds together. And I'm not rushing you. I just want you to know that when you have 4 pieces of tape, I should do it the way Miss Piggy showed us. I'll do the sign language, right? When you have 4 pieces of tape on that first dowel, give a thumbs up and show nobody that you're ready.
All right.
I
Gracie.
Imagine Brett
I'm
has
sorry,
a question.
Imagine and Dragon.
All right, Grace, ask your question.
Do we put it on the bottom or the top? This. The next piece.
You're going to tape on the bottom and the top of your dowel, your wood piece, and 2 in the middle. So you're just going to make sure it's taped down well.
Like right
Mom, do
here.
you understand?
I
Adults,
understand. Yeah, she doesn't believe
Do
me.
we put on the hot dog side or the? This is the hot dog side. This is the hamburger side.
Okay.
So it's
Right.
I think it doesn't matter which way the tape is oriented, if it's hot dog way or hamburger way, as long as it's on there firmly.
Thank
or
you.
here. Right here.
thank you for helping me decipher the question because my audio was cutting out a little bit. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Glad to be helpful. That is one thing I learned from art school, art classes when I was in elementary school. Hot dog way and hamburger way.
So campers, if I'm looking at you like this, I probably didn't hear you. So I'll try to let you know. Oh, I see Rosamoon holding hers up. Okay, everybody, if you, or all the humans, if you could look at Rosamoon's, that's exactly how I was hoping your first one would look, looking pretty good. Rosamoon, do you have 4 pieces of tape on there? You can give me a head nod or a shake.
Yep.
Yes, awesome, because sometimes it's hard to see on the video. Looking good. All right. Nobody, when they're ready, we can go to the next slide, which is basically doing the same thing with the other dowel. This time I have a little picture in the middle, and it kind of shows you, it'll show you, you're going to match up the tape in the same spots on dowel number 2. And if you notice on the picture to the right, that's when I cut my own finger with the scissors, which is why I'm trying to tell you all to be careful. I want you to learn from my mistakes. I don't want you to have an owie, although it's feeling just fine now. It's all better.
So on one side, it matches the tape on the other side.
Yes, it does. Thank you for using your cursor to show them.
You're welcome. And look at that.
So this is what is called symmetrical. It means when you have something and the right side looks exactly like the left side, it's symmetrical. So I'm going to throw a little art stuff at you. A little vocabulary while we're at it. Like if you're drawing a face, most of the time you would draw a face symmetrically. Unless you're drawing an alien. Then you can have like 2 eyes on one side and 1 eye on the other side, and maybe have an ear on the chin and off to the side. You can do whatever you want when you're drawing. When you have 2 dowels on your kite, and both dowels have 4 pieces of tape on them, let us know that you're ready by a thumbs up.
Firefly has a thumbs up. Thank you, Firefly. Would you like to show us? Firefly, would you like to show us what you've done?
Whoa, you.
Ta-da! That looks great.
Yay.
Thank you.
Very good.
All right, Pickle and
Okay, so
are
go ahead.
upstairs. They're just showing us that they finished. They're celebrating.
Okay. I have an airplane going overhead. I don't know if you can hear it.
Oh, it looks like Shark. Shark has hers finished. Ta-da! Look at that one too. Thank you, Shark.
Nice. I just saw Miss
Oh,
Piggy's up being there.
I see their
Mama.
thumbs up.
Good job, Miss Piggy. All right.
Something is happening.
So
Go ahead.
adult, oh, I was going to say, I'm going to address the adult helpers. So the next part that we're going to do took a really long time for the older kids because we're tying knots. And what I will tell you about tying knots is it can be a little challenging when you're face to face with a scout who's right there with you. And that's when I'll do things where I'm actually helping them with the knot, kind of hand over hand. It's a bit more tough to do this online. So what I'm going to suggest is maybe this is where you help us poke the holes in the corners of the kite and tie the knots so we can maybe move on to doing the kite tails, where the campers can do their own kite tails and they can do their own drawings. But I'm going to say for attaching the bridle string, Scouts, we're going to have your adults help you quite a bit on this next part because I think it was a little frustrating for kids who are a little older who have knot tying experience. So let's all keep a positive attitude. We'll get it done, and we can have you do some kite tail taping in a few minutes. So when we're ready, we can go to the next slide. Nobody?
All right. Can I get a thumbs up if people are ready to go to the next slide? Okay, that looks like almost everyone. All right.
Okay, so that's where your strings are going to get attached on those far corners. And then we can go to the next slide.
The next
And
slide-
campers,
I'm sorry, Shamrock.
I was just going to say, I was just showing you in this one where we're going to put the strings, but we first have to put some tape. So let's go to the next slide.
Does the next slide give us
Can you-
instructions on how to do the tape?
The next slide will have that.
Great.
And I apologize about the airplane because it's super loud. Okay, so now we're going to get 2 pieces of tape. They're going to be a little bit bigger than the last ones we had. So if the adults had them that were 2 fingers wide, we're going to do these maybe 3 or 4 fingers wide. And what we're going to do is we're going to, could you circle around the arrow on the far left picture, Nobody? We're going to put your tape on the edge, but it's going to be hanging over. And then if you look at the picture on the right, that's the back side of the tape. You're going to fold it. So it's going to basically, here's the edge of your paper. My hand is the edge of the paper. Here's your tape. It's going to stick to this side, and you're going to fold it over the other side. So stick to one side of the paper and fold it on the other, right in the corners. And you're going to do one on each side.
Each side of the kite, so 2 sides. So right here
Yes,
and this other side
exactly.
here. Great.
Yes, ma'am, exactly. I think I have a repeat on the other side slide after this. I was trying to make it so if people were doing this with no talking through it, that they would be able to figure it out by just watching the slideshow.
Shall I move to the next slide so we can see it?
That would be great. So if you look at the one on the picture on the left, you can see the first piece of tape that was already put on there. Go to the far left side of the slide. There we go. Perfect, where nobody's circling. And then we're going to the right side point and putting one there. And it doesn't matter if you started at the left or the right. When you've got 2 pieces of tape, one on each corner, give Nobody a thumbs up, please.
It looks like Marshy and Marshmallow have a question.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's not? Oh, great. Then never mind. I think I saw most people thumbing up.
We are just
Awesome.
spraying over our heads.
I didn't understand that.
That's
What?
okay. Let's go to the next one.
Okay.
You ready for the next slide?
Yes, please. Okay, so this is where I'm going to have the adults kind of step in and help so we can speed this process along a little bit because we have about 15 more minutes. So where we just put, whoops, is somebody else chatting too, or?
Yeah, it's nobody. I'm wondering if some of the Girl Scouts that don't have a grown up there, if they have a grown up nearby that they can go get.
Oh, okay.
So if you have a grown up nearby, that'd be a great time to go grab them. Go ahead, Shamrock.
So where we just put the tape in the very corner, we're going to take a nail and we're going to poke a little hole through. So nobody, could you please unshare the screen and spotlight me for a second? All right, so here's my kite. And here is one of the places that we just put the tape. So I have a little hole right there. So adults, that's where we're going to poke a nail through on each side. So there's one hole here going across to the other side. There's another little hole there. So where my fingers are pinching the kite. And if we could go back to the slide, I can show you a little bit closer. Ooh, it's windy at Pickle's house. All right, so basically what I did with the nail is I kind of wiggle it, and then you have to push the pointy part through and push on the head of the nail. And then if you go to the next slide, you'll take your pencil.
My mom
and
is
you'll
still
poke.
doing the slide we just did.
We can go back to that one in a second. You can poke the pencil through the little hole, and then if you twist the pencil, it will widen the hole. So if you want to go back one slide, nobody, so the parents who are just showing up could see that. Oops. There you go. Perfect. And are there any adults that need that instruction over that weren't super close to the, or couldn't see the screen? Let us know.
Rosa Moonfire's grown up. Are you able to do, can we move on to the next slide? Do you got this or do you need to see it again?
My mom is still sharpening the pencil so that we can make the hole a little bigger.
Great. Did your mom already get you, did you already get help getting the hole poked with the nail?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you. Oh, Brave Bear. There, Brave Bears has it handled.
Awesome. You're such a lovely, patient group of Girl Scouts, and you're working so hard.
Unicorn Queen, I saw their thumbs up. Marshy and Marshmallow have thumbs up.
I see a Rosa Moon hand, finger up, thumbs up.
And Sharp's
job.
thumbs up, and Uni is thumbs up, and Lauren's thumb is up, and Imagine and Dragon's thumb are up. I think that's
Yay.
all of us. Does Firefly have it handled? Thumbs up. Great. Next slide, Shamrock.
Awesome. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so we're going to cut off a piece of string from our spool. And this piece of string needs to be 46 inches long. This is where, if you have a ruler, you can use a ruler to measure that off. What I did on there is basically the bridle string. It's bridle spelled like the way the bridle for a horse, because it's how we control the kite, just like you would use a bridle to control a horse, not the wedding bridle. The string has to be 2 widths of your kite. So what I did when I was measuring it, if you don't have a ruler handy, I'm going to get a bunch of string off I unspooled a bunch of string, and I pull it across the kite one time, and then I grab it, and then I pulled it across the kite 2 times, and then you cut it. So your string should be twice as long as your points from here to here. Now, did all the adults get my instruction on that one? If you did, you know, give me a thumbs up, or maybe raise your hand if you didn't understand what I was saying. That might be a better way to go.
Raise your hand if you have a question.
My parents can't hear you guys because I have headphones.
Okay.
Oh.
So,
Um,
Shamrock, while you were speaking, I was also tracing this outline.
okay.
So I think that it's clear for people.
So whoever said they have headphones, just explain to your adult that it needs, the string that you're cutting off needs to be 46 inches long. And then you're gonna snip it off with your scissors.
All right, can I get a thumbs up for if you're finished with this section? Thank you.
And I have an idea, nobody.
Yes.
I'd like to skip ahead a little bit so that the samples can start. Oops, somebody's not muted. Hold on for 1 second. I'd like to skip ahead to the art part so that the scouts can work on, or the campers can work on the art part of their kite. And then at that point, maybe they could give their headphones or their audio over to their adult helpers. And then the adult helpers can learn how to tie the kite string on. Does that work because we have about 8 minutes left.
Great. Okay. Luna, Rosa Moonfire, can you give your headphones to your mom in just 1 minute? We're going to show you the art part. And after that art part, when we do the knots, we're going to have your mom use your headphones. So right now, keep them for yourself, but then we're going to change the plan, okay? So wait for me to tell you.
Okay. So it will be the slide that says, make it big and bold.
So at the end, when
Okay.
we've done all of the knots,
So when you are ready to decorate your kite, remember that if you could go back 1 slide, I apologize. Or maybe 2. There you go, the pencils. Your Sharpies, the one with the pencils on it, I'm sorry. Your Sharpies are permanent. Once your Sharpies touch the kite, that mark's going to be there forever. And that's okay, because you can have all sorts of fun and do patterns and everything else. But if you're a planner, you might want to take your pencil and draw out the idea that you want to have for art on your kite first. And then you can use the Sharpie to fill in the lines. Next slide, please. So here's the thing that you want to make sure when you're doing your kite's going to get further and further away from you when it's flying up in the air. So the ladybugs on the left, they're kind of small. The one on the right is really big. If we go to the next slide, we're going to see what happens when it gets further away from us. Now the one on the left looks like just some dots. You can't really tell it's ladybugs. The one on the right, you can still tell that it's a ladybug. Now let's go to the next slide. And on this one, we have 2 rocket ships. The one on the right's small, and the one on the left is small, and the one on the right's big. And when we go to the next slide, when we see when they get away from us, it's kind of hard to tell what the one on the left is, but we can still tell that the one on the right is a rocket ship. So whether you're going to do a unicorn or a big flower or whatever it is, make it really big. Use up the whole kite. And remember, the further away something gets from you, the harder it is for you to see. And one more slide, we're going to quickly go over kite safety with all the campers. And then we're going to have your adult that's helping you. They're going to learn how to do some knots, and hopefully they can help you learn them a little later as well. The videos on how to do the knots will be available. So when you're making kites, you want to always use paper, wood, cotton, or other synthetic string or plastics to build a kite. You want to fly the kites in an open area. You don't want to be on a street where there's traffic. You want to stay away from trees and power lines. Good places to fly would be the beach or a field or something of that manner that you have a lot of room to run around. And just be careful if there's other people who are maybe having a picnic. You don't want to run through their picnics unless they're offering food. Then that might be a plus. Who knows? But always fly kites in good weather. You want to make sure that it's not raining or too foggy, definitely not during a thunder and lightning storm. That could be dangerous. We're going to go to the red box now. So you never ever want to use wire or metal thread or anything reinforced with metal, because if there is an electrical storm going on, or if you're near power lines, which you want to stay away from power lines, it could be very dangerous to you. We don't want you to get hurt. The next one is never fly kites near power lines, busy streets, highways, or low-flying aircraft. So some of us live in Arlington, and we have an airport in Arlington. If you're flying anywhere near the airport, you need to make sure that it's not anywhere near where the planes are going to come in and out of. The last one is never attempt to remove your kite from power lines. If your kite breaks off the string and floats away and ends up in a power line, that's when you're going to call your local electric company and say, hey, I could use a little help, please. Could you come and help me get my kite down? It went into the power lines. Because that would be the safest thing to do, because they are trained and they know how to handle electricity. Does everybody understand kite safety? If you understand what I'm saying, give me a big thumbs up. And I'm going to give you some silent applause, because I think all you scouts did an excellent job on all of this. So we're going to go back. Oh, and I have on the last slide, it tells you where some of the paintings came from, because I'm an artist. That's what I do. All right. And then,
Rosa Moonfire, can you give your headphones to your mom now?
Perfect.
And Unicorn Queen, can you come back with your grown-up? And can all of the grown-ups hear this part? So we're going to move quickly. So we'll send out the link. I'll put it on Facebook and with the letters that we send out so that you can access all of this too. All right, go ahead, Shamrock. Yeah. From there, in a super adult speed.
So basically, adults, the whole idea is that in the corner, if you want to go one slide further down, we're going to string the end of the bridle string through one side of the kite, and then we want to tie a secure knot. A secure knot option would be a double half hitch or a 2 half hitch knot. And I use in the video, it's going to be with a piece of cardstock and a rope, because otherwise you won't see it. And these videos are going to be available on the website. I think you need to share your video sound. Nobody, it's, there's no audio.
A nail, and then you widen it with a pencil. I'm showing you with a piece of cardstock and a larger rope, because it's really hard for you to see it if I were to use the kite string. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put your bridle string through one of the holes, and then I pull the length of it down, and then I take the short end and I make what looks to be a number 4. So this string is on top. Then you're going to go underneath, through, and pull. And then you're going to do it again. Number 4, loop through, and then pull it up again. And this is what your knot should look like when you're done for double half hitch. You're going to do that on both sides of your kite.
Great. And now grown-ups, you can go ahead and do that now. Yay for learning knots. Yay for growth mindsets.
And if you want to do it 3 times and make it a triple half hitch, you can do that. And pull it nice and tight because the kite string's a little slippery.
And I move to the next slide, which has the same knot drawn out.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes that helps. I sometimes do better with stationary pictures than I do when I'm watching somebody do it because it might move too quickly for me when I'm watching it.
Who knew we were going to have an Alpenglow day camp session for grown-ups learning how to tie knots? Outdoor skills
Virtual
for everyone, all the humans. All right, can I move to the next slide?
I am okay with that. I think the best thing probably for all the adults is to probably go back after the session's over, and that way you can spend a little time looking at it. That's just the second side, so it'll be the same thing.
Look at you being
And the
efficient
same,
so that people can do it one by one when they're ready.
exactly. So then when you're ready, do you see on adults, if you look on the left-hand picture, I put a little red over it. You're going to basically find the middle of your kite string or bridle string. The easiest way to probably do that is if you take your 2 corners that your string is on and just put them together and then pull your string out. And then, so hard to do cameras. And when you're at the end of it, that's your middle. Okay.
Shamrock, these
And then the
instructions
next,
are fantastic.
thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So.
And then when they find their center, what are they going to do next?
They're going to make an overhand loop knot, which you will show them how to do that on the next slide.
Now we're going to make an overhand loop knot. After you take your bridle string and you tie it to both of your points on your kite, you're going to find the middle of your string, pinch it, and then pull up so you'll have a loop like this. I'm a right-handed person, so I'm doing the work with my right hand, and I'm using my left hand as kind of my anchoring point. So I'm going to take my 2 fingers on my left hand. I'm going to take the kite string and I'm going to go around them. So the loop is on the top. And then I am going to push the loop through the hole.
And I know all you adults have made this knot 1,000 times. You probably just didn't realize it's called an overhand loop knot.
Do another
And now you know the
hitch knot to this after you have your loop. So we could do that right now.
And then this is when you put the spool. So when you're ready to tie the spool, you take the end of that.
Just like you did on the point of the kite. Make your little number 4. Go through. Pull. And then do it again. You can have a little bit more of a tail on there than I did. So there is your overhand.
So
your loop.
the reason why we're making a loop on the bridle string and then you're going to tie the end of your kite spool to it, is if the kite spool gets all knotted up and you can't do anything with it anymore and you need to cut it off and replace it, you can tie another one to the loop. You might have a little bit of thread left over, but this makes it so that you're not cutting the entire kite apart. You're only going to cut off the string. And then there's one more thing that the kids need to do afterwards, and that's put on their kite tails, which is this next one. And they just put them evenly spaced, and they're going to tape them 1, 2, 3. And I did it on the back side of my kite because it gives you a little more art space on the front. And then you will have your completed kites.
And the back side,
Woo-hoo!
and the back side where the strings are, correct?
I did it on the back. I flipped it over so so here's the front of a kite that I did that has a big fox on it. I did it on the other side. So this side has the dowels. It has the wood, and you can see the wood. This is the side that doesn't have the wood, and I taped them on the back side of this. You can do it on either side. I like it on the back side. It's not my kite. If you want to do it on the front side of your kite, you can do it on the front side of your kite.
And
You just need to put it on the bottom.
And the strings attached to the dowels, the strings attached to the front, the art side then?
The strings attached to the art side.
Great.
They will flip either way. So they're just basically on the corners.
Great.
But the wood is on the art side. And the tails are on the bottom.
I think we found a new superpower of yours, Shamrock, called teaching children how to do knots, or teaching grown-ups how to do knots over Zoom. Who knew?
Well, there you go. It's hard not doing it hand over hand. So this is probably, I think, the toughest thing I've had to teach so far is the knots.
All right, from grown-ups, are there any questions on how to finish this up? Pickle? Oh, I don't know what that means. We haven't had that lesson yet.
This is no in sign language.
Great. Maybe you can teach that to us tomorrow.
Okay, I'll add that.
Thank you. All right.
I love the sign language.
It looks like the grown-ups don't have any other questions. I haven't seen any hands raised. Do any of the kids have any questions and or semi-related stories, which is usually what I get when I ask for a question? I have a question. Actually, it's not a question, it's a story. But they're good stories because the stories are demonstrating taking the information that we're giving them and putting it into their real life and applying it. So their stories are a demonstration of learning, and I do love and find joy from that too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's 4:09, Pickle. Do you want to have all the kids come off of mute and say goodbye?
She just is leaving because she's going to a spin class right now.
Oh, good. So all of the humans can come off of mute. And you can come. You can come say hello. You can, say goodbye. Say hello and goodbye.
Bye,
everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, later.
Bye.
Bye, Girl Scouts. Bye, campers. Thank
Bye.
you so much, parents and grown-ups, teenagers helping. All the humans helping.
You can.
Goodbye.
Bye, Shamrock. I'll see you in the staff meeting in a few moments.
I have a question about
Yeah.
that. Do you want me to go on there for my mom?
Yes,
Goodbye.
Where do I go for it?
it's on Facebook.
Okay.
Okay. I'll tag you in the link.